Welcome, Facebook live stream viewers. Once again, I'm so glad to have you with me, but I'm especially glad today because I've got a guest that I'm so excited for you to meet. He is one of those people that we like to spotlight who's a change maker, who is making the world a better place by doing something differently. Tim Ringgold is his name, and he is helping people deal with addiction through music therapy. And this is a subject near and dear to my heart because, as many of you know, my daughter is a musician. In fact, went to school to Chapman Music Conservatory with Tim and raves about him as a musician and as a human being. So I'm excited to introduce you very shortly to Tim Ringgold. And in just a moment, we will be getting ready to actually start the show. Remember, Facebook viewers, you're backstage with Change It Up Radio here with Paula Shaw. And today, I should explain to you, we're recording a little out of order because our guest is a busy guy, and so am I, and somehow things didn't come together exactly as we thought this morning. So we're going to record Tim's portion first because we really want to mainline that, and then we'll be coming back after that and recording the beginning of the show. So don't want to confuse you all, but fortunately my sound engineer, the famous Todd James, will be able to figure it all out, and we will all making sense. Can they hear me, Todd? We're having... Should I try saying something else? We're working a little bit on the sound right now, guys, because a radio show without sound is like a mailman without letters, or or a sidewalk to walk or something. We're good? You want to start it over? Nah, they'll rock with us. Todd wanted to know if I wanted to start over, but I figure I told you guys we're backstage, and these are the real realities of recording a radio show. So in just a moment, we will be getting started. Thanks for being with us. You're in for a treat.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Now, more than ever, it's important for
Hi,
women
I'm
to
Kelly Klein
understand
of
why
One Trust
they
Home
need a
Loans,
financial
loan coach
strap.
Kelly. It triggered a lot of self-doubt
Welcome
and
back
fear.
to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio. You're here today with Paula Shaw, as you know, and I am very excited that my guest today, Tim Ringgold, is somebody really special, and I can't wait for you to meet him and learn about what he is doing, because this man is making an important mark in the world. So let me tell you a little bit about him before we bring him on. Tim Ringgold is a board-certified music therapist and the director of Sonic Divinity Music Therapy Services in Orange County, California. He provides music therapy to teens and adults in residential treatment centers. That's what I'm excited to talk to him about. He's the author of the upcoming book, Sonic Recovery: Harness the Power of Music to Achieve Relief from Addiction. As many of you know, addiction in our country and in the world is a huge problem. So this is going to be really wonderful to hear what Tim is doing with music therapy to help people deal with their addictions. He's also done a TED Talk on this very subject, and he's the Western Region Chapter President of the American Music Therapy Association. And Tim didn't just happen to choose helping people with addiction through music because he has a personal story. In 2003, he walked into a 12-step room himself, and so he knows firsthand what it's like to work and play a program of recovery. Tim. I'm so excited that you're here. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Paula.
You know, in looking at your website, I noticed I was particularly interested, of course, being a therapist, in some of the clinical outcomes that were listed there as a result of music therapy. So I just want to give our listeners some information about that. So it can decrease anxiety, increase, increase mindfulness, which we know is so important because being in the present moment is critical. It can increase emotional, nonverbal, and creative self-expression, increase relaxation, increase interpersonal and spiritual connection, and increase healthy coping skills. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. So, Tim, I would love it if you could give our listeners a little bit of information about your own story. How did you come to music, and how did you come to working with music and addiction?
Well, I started out as a musician, like all music therapists. My first solo was I was a kindergartner singing "I Want a Harmonica for Hanukkah" in the elementary school choir, and music was really the only music and sports, athletics and art were the two areas of my life that I was just always passionate about, and time was always my enemy because it would go too fast, not too slow. And I didn't really know how, both of those as career choices are really challenging professionally.
Yes.
And so when I got to college, I was a young man. I grew up on the East Coast, and I moved away from home, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something in either athletics or art, and trying to figure out a sustainable, predictable, healthy future in either of those arenas just proved, not impossible, but just, slim. And I had a career-ending knee injury. I was a rugby player, and I was on my way to go play professionally, and I thought that was going to be the path, and then an injury stopped it. And I looked at the music industry, and I thought, I don't sing opera, I don't like opera, and I'm not a music theater guy. And teaching, lessons in a 3x3, room with no windows doesn't seem like why God put me here.
No.
And so I really struggled for a while, and I was, what happened, I went through a really traumatic experience, and music was the thing that got me through, and particularly live performance. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to be a rock star. And because I know that when, if I release records, people will bring me into their bedroom. And that sounds kind of funny when I put it that way, but
not literally.
What I mean by that, what I mean is like you when you're a teen, your music becomes your best friend,
right?
And I knew that music brought me through my darkest moment, and so I wanted to be that soundtrack, of inspiration for somebody in their darkest moment. But the music business is brutal and it's unhealthy. And they say sex, drugs, and rock and roll in that order for a reason. And so I found, after trying to make it in the music business, I was just spiritually, financially, broke, and walked into a 12-step meeting and started to turn my life around in 2003. And then also, not so coincidentally, that was the year I discovered music therapy as a major at a university. And when I realized I could, very much like physical therapy using exercise, I could use music as a treatment tool. My life changed in that moment. I filled out my FAFSA and my online application right then and there, and I did not look back from that moment.
Wow. So I'm really curious about this because I don't know if I've shared with you, but my original training was in addictive disorders, and so I'm an alcohol and drug abuse counselor, and I don't recall any music therapies. Now, this was a little while back in the 90s when I did my training, but I mean, we all know we love music. We like to listen to it. It can be fun. It can shift our energy. But when did it come into use in any kind of recovery program, and how is it used?
That's a really great question. I don't really know the origin story of, who started bringing music therapy. What I can connect the dots is, some of my colleagues, we get trained in how to, use music in a therapeutic setting. And in our initial training, it's usually if it's with adults, it often gets lumped into what they would call mental health, like the big umbrella of mental health.
Right. Okay.
And so, many of us end up at a behavioral hospital where we're working with patients who might be dealing with all kinds of different diagnoses. And what I noticed when I got my job at my first behavioral hospital right out of school was the comorbidity and the coincidence between alcohol and drug abuse and other co-occurring disorders, whether it's depression, anxiety, trauma, right? So all these were kind of layered in or almost like a knot.
Yes.
Right. There's just a mess, all commingled there. And so what we noticed is that, music works very specifically physiologically. It works very specifically emotionally, socially, and spiritually. And so you can use music and kind of tap into any one of those 4 different domains of a person very quickly.
And would you give us those 4 domains again, Tim?
Yeah, sure. So physical, mental, social, spiritual.
Ah, okay. Yeah, so tell us more. This is great.
Yeah, so you can, let's see. So, for example, if I'm working in this setting, I have an acronym for SOBER. So SOBER represents the different clinical goals or outcomes. So S, stay present. O, open up. B, be creative. E, escape in a healthy way. And R, reconnect.
Oh, I love
any tool,
that. That's really good.
Thank you. Any tool in a rehab setting for anybody who is struggling with depression, anxiety, self-harm, addiction. And addictions, what's the right word? It's got so much energy. It's got so much shame around the word.
Yes.
So a lot of people are addicted to things and are either unaware or unwilling to admit because there's so much social shame around that. But if I just call it kryptonite. Like if there's something, like even Superman's powerless in the face of kryptonite. So if there's something in the settings where I'm working with teens or adults, and it's not music centered, it's goal centered. So the music may come and go. We may do some music. We may do very little music. We may do a lot of music, but the music's not the point, which is what most of us experience when we're going to a performance of music. Music's the point, right?
Right.
In music therapy is the point, and music's just the tool that gets us there.
So a music therapist actually has like a psychology background as well, huh?
Yeah, so when you become a music therapist, you have to either complete a bachelor's, master's, or PhD, plus 1,200 hours of clinical internship, national board certification exam, 100 CEUs every 5 years. And in that training, you basically are, depending on the school you go to, you're essentially getting a psych minor in the process. Because you're having to take psych, intro to psych, abnormal psych, child abnormal psych, psych of music, influence of music on behavior. So you're understanding all of these processes, and then you're understanding how to use music as a tool to interrupt those processes.
Well, this has been so enlightening already, and I can't wait to find out more, Tim. I love what we are doing, and after we take this quick break, we'll come back with Tim Ringgold and find out more about how music therapy can help people dealing with addiction. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Sometimes life throws you a curve. It can be a health scare, divorce, loss of a job, or death of a loved one. And big changes can make you feel stressed out and anxious, depressed, or unable to sleep. Nothing feels comfortable or safe, and that's a tough place to be. Wouldn't it be nice to have someone to talk it over with? Someone who understands why you feel the way you do and knows how to help. Paula Shaw is a life transitions counselor, an expert therapist that can help you deal with unwanted destabilizing change or disruption in your life. Using a variety of mind-body techniques and psychology processes, she helps identify the key issues, eliminating self-sabotage and doubt to get you rapid results. Paula Shaw Counseling is open to all people, all ages, and all walks of life. Big life changes can be tough. Paula Shaw can help you get through it. Call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234. 858-480-9234.
My business has lost its upward momentum. I'm working up to 14 hours a day, but my sales seem to have plateaued. I'm so overwhelmed.
I used to have that same problem, but ever since I found the Balanced Millionaire Consulting Firm, our sales and profits have risen sharply. Even our staff is more engaged, and the atmosphere is full of energy.
I have no time to work on my business to develop new sales and marketing strategies. I would love to expand, have strategic partnerships, and access to financing.
You can do all of that and more. The Balanced Millionaire Consulting Team advises you on streamlining your operations, establishing alliances, and most importantly, increasing your revenues and profits.
Let us help you build value and reduce stress in your business. Take charge. Don't let your business control your life. Visit thebalancedmillionaire.com or call 442-224-0160 for a free consultation. That's 442-224-0160 or thebalancedmillionaire.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. My guest today, as some of you are already aware, is Tim Ringgold, who is a music therapist here in Southern California, who is doing some fascinating work using music therapy to assist people who are dealing with addiction. He goes into recovery homes and he provides programs that are helping them with their recovery. So, Tim, I have a million questions, so welcome back.
Thank you.
I was thinking during the break, when I did my internship, one of the groups I worked with, and only briefly, was the group of teenagers who were in the hospital for recovery. It was an in-hospital recovery program. And I got to tell you, that was a tough group. You know, they were hardened. They were reluctant. They were not exactly real participatory. And you work with teenagers is one of the groups you work with. And yet I can see where maybe you could crack through that tough exterior with music, but I don't know. How do you use music with teens?
Well, you got to remember that teens are in this limbo of identity between imprinting with parents and then trying to figure out who they are and then coming of age inside of a social identity all at the same time, right? And so one of the reasons why music works with teens so much is they trust it, because music doesn't scold them. It doesn't judge them, right? It doesn't lecture them. Mm-hmm. Music just meets them where they are. And it gives them two things. It gives them a sense of belonging in the world, and it gives them a sense of identity. And these are core issues for teens.
Right, for sure.
Right? And most of the time, music's fairly authentic, meaning, you know, the people who are writing the music are writing about things they know and have lived and have experienced. Mm-hmm. And so the kids relate to that. And, you know, a lot of times parents will struggle. They'll say, you know, my kid is in their room listening to music more than they're talking to me. And it's okay, you know, because that's their friend right now. And, you know, they may be connecting more with the music than with you in the moment. So because music's like the mutual friend between any one of us, right? Like you and I, we may not know each other, but we both share this friend, music.
Yes.
And so that's the mutual friend. So, you know, whenever you meet somebody, if you meet them through an acquaintance, like we met through your daughter, and so it instantly we had rapport because we were borrowing the credibility of your daughter, so that we could immediately connect.
Yes.
That's what happens in the therapeutic milieu with the kids, because I may not know them. I could be their dad. I'm their dad's age.
Mm-hmm.
But I bring music, which is their friend that they trust more than their parents.
Oh.
And then it's through music that we establish that therapeutic alliance.
So
and
that
we may
becomes
do it a
the
number
olive branch, the peace pipe.
That's exactly it. Yeah, that's how we connect. That's the bridge. And then we may engage in it. Like I bring drums every other week, and we may drum. I may bring songs that we'll listen to that's pre-recorded. I may sing songs. We may write. They may draw to music, or we may just do relaxation to music. Any number of different ways. And that's the thing for everybody to take away from this is, there are 4 different ways that you can engage with music to change your state. You can make it, you can listen to it, you can write it, or you can relax to it. And anybody can do that. Everybody's musical. Everybody has rhythm. Some of us are more coordinated than others. If you're not tone deaf, everybody can sing. It's just that some people's voices are better trained than others.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like any other muscle. So, these are basic skills. And I show the kids whenever I bring the real instruments, like if you can dribble a ball, you can drum. Mm-hmm. If you can scratch an itch, you can shake a shaker. So one of the things we do is we dispel the myths about music in our culture, which is that it's hard, it's expensive, it's time consuming, and only a few people have it, right? That talent. Right. And we kind of blow that out of the water within, the first couple of minutes of the session. And then they suddenly are empowered because being musical is cool in our culture. Mm-hmm. So to show kids that they can be musical and give them instruments where they can be successful on the instrument right away, they're, wow, this is really empowering. I just did something I had been telling myself was impossible. Oh, gee, where else can I point that distinction in my relationships or in my self-esteem or my identity?
Yes, that's beautiful. So now you have an actual real experience of trying something new and succeeding and becoming empowered. So now you can generalize that into other areas of your life. I think that is brilliant, Tim. I really love that. And, it's funny. I happened this weekend to have seen Sister Act, which is here in San Diego Musical Theater. And it was wonderful. But that, in a nutshell, is sort of what you're saying. In the beginning, the whole group of nuns, this choir, they're terrible and they're miserable. And then with somebody coming in who just shows them a way they can own the music and become empowered through it, it transforms the whole convent, the whole church. It's just amazing, what takes place. And I watched it actually transform the audience. So I have a real sense of what you're talking about, how it can make such a difference. Did I lose you, Tim? I think I have lost our guest. We're going to have to try to reconnect with him and and see if we can finish this up. Let's see. So stay with us, live stream viewers. I think somehow I lost Tim. And he was saying so many wonderful things. Let me find my pen. We will find him, and we'll be right back in just a minute.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Jack Gutman survived World War II and then returned home to the hardest fight of his life with PTSD and alcoholism. Now at age 93, he's a businessman and comedian, sharing his message of recovery and hope in his new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, helping our heroes and anyone who has experienced PTSD find happiness again. Get Jack Gutman's new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, at Amazon.com. Or to order a signed copy, call 714-525-4954.
For those looking to improve their lives, there's nobody better to turn to than Paula Shaw. Paula helps people regain successful lives by identifying and eliminating self-sabotaging behavior using a multitude of mind-body techniques to identify and resolve their core issues. Working with a wide variety of healing modalities, she provides her clients with the most effective process for their specific needs. To book a session with Paula, call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. And we are talking today with Tim Ringgold, music therapist, who is doing some extraordinary work with helping people who are dealing with addiction through music therapy. So, Tim, you were just talking about this whole idea of giving people the experience of playing a simple instrument and making music. And then they've now done something new, had an experience of success with it, and they're empowered, right?
That's right. That's right. And that's, one of the key things is that this is an experience, right? It's experiential therapy. And,
yes.
We play music, we don't work it. So there's a different energy inside of music therapy than in a lot of their other groups.
Yes.
And so every once in a while, I say it's actually fun. And because, that's something that, if you want to get the buy-in, like you said, of teens or adults, either way, is this going to be more work? Why should I care? What is this? Right. Oh, this is fun. Oh, this is cool. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. All right. I'm leaning in because people generally have a positive, very personal relationship with music before they come into treatment. And, anybody I meet, whether I'm lecturing at a conference or at a retreat or I'm working with them in the clinic, I don't introduce them to music. So they already have a kind of a good feeling towards it. So they may not know me, but they sure know music. So once I can show them how to be successful, the key is that in music therapy, the music is the metaphor, right? So everything we're doing in music therapy, then we are taking out of the music and into their life, right? So when you make music, you're present because you got to stay on the beat. And sometimes you get out of rhythm. Okay, let's talk about the rhythm of your recovery. What is the rhythm of what was your lifestyle like that was contributing to your downfall? What were the rhythms that really weren't serving you? Yeah. What you're going to have to change that rhythm. What's a new rhythm look like? Like a morning routine or an evening routine or a gratitude prayer, right? What kind of rhythm do you need to establish that's going to be new and different, that's going to give you different results? So music's a very powerful teaching tool. So we engage in it, and then we learn from it, and we apply it right then and there to the work they're doing.
And one of the things I love about music is the brain makes associations between experiences and music. So do you find that even after the recovery program, that if they play some of the music that they used or that they heard when they were working with you, does that assist them in just kind of remembering the lessons, the messages, the information?
Well, I don't get the chance to interview them, to ask them that question after discharge. I would love to know that, but because of the neuroassociation between memory and music, it's likely, that may be created because that's something we have to address in treatment, which is that the playlist you were listening to when you were going through your bad times and you were engaging in whatever your self-destructive behavior was, is a playlist that you need to take a break from because of those very same connections that you made in your brain.
Good point.
And, that music's going to come up. You're going to be in someone else's car. It's going to come on, and it's going to trigger the past for you. So you're going to need to have strategies to be able to stay present and to not get stuck back in that past. So, music can help our recovery. Music can also hinder our recovery. It's a very powerful tool that our culture doesn't fully appreciate on the surface, just how powerful it is.
That's so true. And one of the things I do love about what you're doing, Tim, is, in my own work, I think it's really important to give people tools because there's a lot of
Yes.
life that happens in between sessions with us, right? And so
Well said.
what I love about this is you're giving them also a tool, whether it's just playing a bongo drum when they're starting to feel stressed, or maybe writing out song lyrics, or some of the other processes you take them through. These are tools they can use after the program as well when they're feeling the stresses and strains of life. And I think
Absolutely.
that's beautiful. And you've given them an experience, and nothing is better than that.
It really is the best. I just I'm about to release a book on all of the clinical work that I've been doing for the last decade, and the book will teach somebody how to fish, how they can use music.
Great. And what is
on
the
their
name of
own.
the book, and where and when can we find it?
Yeah, so Sonic Recovery. If you just go to sonicrecovery.com, you can if you put your name and email address in there, I'll give you a relaxation script and meditation that you can download for free.
Great.
There's all kinds of apps that I recommend for relaxation, and virtual instruments that you can play on your smart devices, so you can turn maybe what was a tool of your addiction into a tool of your recovery. That's all available there. The book's going to launch on June 10th. And so if you go to the website in advance and sign up for it, then you'll be able to be, up to date on all the bonuses that you can get along with the book. But really, it's a good start, but really the goal is to be able to, provide seminars and retreats where we're doing this for larger groups of people at a time. So like you said, they can have the experience, and then, that's the deepest teacher of all.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And Tim, we wish you well. We are so glad that you shared all this information with us about this beautiful work you're doing. So everybody, remember to go to sonicrecovery.com and download that relaxation piece that Tim is offering free. I can't wait. I think I could use that right now. I'm getting on a plane tomorrow, and there's a lot going on. Tim, thank you so much for being with me today, and please come back because we want to hear a lot more about this beautiful work you're doing.
Paula, thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. And thank you to my listeners for joining us this week. Tim's show will be podcast on all the major podcast platforms next week. You also hear us every week on AM 1170, The Answer, and 96.1 FM at 9 o'clock on Sunday evenings. So stay with us. We love having you with us, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Tim, are you there?
I'm still here.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. And now, you know what? I need to check with Todd. You need to go. Oh, so you better go.
Yes. That's okay. I'm on my cell, and I'm packing up the car now.
Oh,
so.
Good. Okay. All right, dear. Well, I won't keep you. Thank you so much. That was amazing. And we'll be in touch soon. And I'll make sure that you get all the graphics and all that, and all the information where people can find you and find information about the show. And we'll also have your website and all of that information on the show page that's about you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much again for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
You are very welcome. I'm sorry that we lost you. I'm just hoping that Todd and I will figure out how to edit that all together so it should work.
Yeah, I'm sure, producers are magicians in that,
yes.
In that way. So.
Todd's the best. He's the best. All right. Take good care, Tim. Thank you. And
Thanks,
say
you too.
goodbye.
Have a great
Say
week.
goodbye to the live stream listeners. They're still with us.
All right, live stream listeners, thanks for hanging out backstage with us.
Okay. All right.
See
Take
how
care.
It really works.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And thank you again, live stream listeners and viewers, for being with us. And a special, wait a minute.
Yeah, we're going to start the show
I just
again
forgot.
here.
We have to start the show. Oh, yes.
Ready
Okay.
to rock and roll?
Yes.
Tired of the rut you're stuck in, but don't know what to do? Change it up. Join life transitions therapist, speaker, and best-selling author Paula Shaw. She'll be exploring topics that make change and the challenge it presents smoother and more productive. She'll also be spotlighting change makers who are leading the charge to make the world a better place. If you're ready to live a more exciting life, at home, in the workplace, and around the world, it's time to step out of your comfort zone and change it up. Now, here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. I'm so glad you're here today because we have a show called Making Beautiful Music with Your Life. And we are going to be talking a little later with Tim Ringgold, a man who truly is a living example of making beautiful music with his life. He is a music therapist, and he is taking music into recovery programs and helping teens and adults to get clean and sober and stay clean and sober through music therapy. Please stay with us. He's got some real nuggets to share. And now, I'm so glad you're here because, Change It Up Radio is all about change. I'm a life transitions therapist, so my work primarily encompasses people who are dealing with change, whether that's welcome change, unwelcome change, difficult times in life. Change tends to be a real difficult situation for those of us who are, you know what, I'm going to start this over. Todd, hello?
Yes.
Can I start over?
Yes, give me one
I
second
forgot to push my time button and then my brain stopped working. Thank you for bearing with us, live stream listeners.
Okay, I'm going to restart it now.
Okay, thank you, dear. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Tired of the rut you're stuck in, but don't know what to do? Change it up. Join life transitions therapist, speaker, and best-selling author Paula Shaw. She'll be exploring topics that make change and the challenge it presents smoother and more productive. She'll also be spotlighting change makers who are leading the charge to make the world a better place. If you're ready to live a more exciting life, at home, in the workplace, and around the world, it's time to step out of your comfort zone and change it up. Now, here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. I'm so glad you're here because we have a wonderful show today. I'm calling it Making Beautiful Music with Your Life because my guest today, Tim Ringgold, is a person who is doing just that. He is a music therapist, but he's chosen to work in a very difficult situation. He helps teens and adults who are in recovery from substance abuse addictions. He helps them be successful in their recovery. He gives them tools not only to help them while they're in treatment, but after they're in treatment as well. So please stay with us because you want to meet Tim. He is one of those change makers who is helping to make the world a better place that we so love to spotlight here on Change It Up Radio. So as you know, those of you who are listeners and follow us every week, we are all about change here. We're either about trying to help people deal with change, bringing them information to make change smoother and more productive, or we are about spotlighting people who are creating change and who are making the world a better place. In my work as a life transitions therapist, I'm always dealing with people who are trying to work through the upheaval or just the discomfort that comes into their lives when they're dealing with change. We've said this a zillion times, but you know, we humans have a love-hate relationship with change. And while we need it, and we even seek it, we just don't like the discomfort of the unfamiliar. And today, we're going to be talking about something that really creates change in a person's life. Change for the worse in many situations, and then when recovery comes along, change for the better. So before we get into that, I just also want to say that in my own personal work in helping people deal with change, I used many tools from energy psychology, mind-body work, neuroscience. I use a lot of those kinds of mind-body processes because if we could think our way intellectually out of our problems, then all the smart people would be the happiest, wouldn't they? And we know that's not true. And just today, I was in a session with somebody who was in a lot of pain over a heartbreaking loss. And one of the things that, excuse me, one of the things that this client was realizing is you can't think your way out of an emotional situation. You know, you can tell yourself, oh, it'll be better, or you can tell yourself, maybe he wasn't meant for me, or you can tell yourself, you know, life will get good again, this pain won't last forever. But that in the moment does not stop your heart from breaking, and it doesn't stop your tears from flowing. And that's what was going on this morning. You know, that's what I was experiencing, realizing that, and trying to help my client realize that sometimes when emotion is huge and when those tears are flowing, or when you're just so sad and you can't imagine life getting better, you just have to be with that. The only way out is through. And I know that's not the news that a lot of people want to hear, because when we're in pain, we want it to stop. That's why I wrote this book, Grief, When Will This Pain Ever End? Because so often that's the question grieving people ask. And we don't see clearly in the moment that we're in the pain that there ever is going to be a way out. And one of the circumstances in life where that is really true is when we're caught up in the midst of addiction. So my original training was in addictive disorders, and that was originally the work that I was doing. And then I realized that grief played such a big part in addictive disorders. And in fact, I call addictions grief avoidance response mechanisms. Because why do we engage in addictive behavior in the first place? We usually engage in it because it's giving us some sort of distraction or relief from emotional pain that we haven't healed. And a big percentage of the time, that emotional pain comes from loss, from some kind of loss that we've endured that we haven't had the opportunity to heal. And when we can't heal those losses, then something comes into our life that provides a little relief. And the brain, remember, the brain's a survival organism. It's not necessarily looking at what's the best choice for us or what's going to make us happiest or what will make us healthiest. It's just looking for what helps me survive. So like a client recently was sharing with me the story of a childhood where mom and dad were always fighting, and there was all this drama in the family. One of the children was acting out and failing in school. Another one was a star athlete, you know, and often this happens because the children are reacting to the trauma in the home, the chaos in the home. And when that happens, you know, we humans actually, we need a certain consistency. We need calm. We need structure. And when that's not part of our environment, then we find ourselves seeking it in other ways. Now, sometimes we seek it and we find it in positive ways, like Tim Ringgold will be talking to us about a little later. He found his in music. Some people find their relief or their getaway or their distraction in art. Some people find it in physical performance through athletics or bike riding or running, kickboxing. That's a great way to let off a lot of pent-up emotion. So we need ways to process the ups and downs of life because it's hard. It's hard for us humans to deal with things that cause us inner turmoil, cause us fear, cause us anxiety or depression, guilt. I mean, these emotions are so heavy and so hard to deal with. So we seek a respite. We seek something to get away from it all. And if that's meditation or listening to beautiful music or perhaps a walk in a beautiful garden or prayer or just quiet time with yourself, that can be a very positive way to seek respite from the emotional pain of life. But if instead of that, you're getting high or you're getting drunk or you are addicted to pornography or you're working every waking moment or gambling, there are many, many distractions out there. There are many, many ways that we humans try to just distract ourselves from the thing that's causing the pain. And if we're not doing a positive thing, that doesn't necessarily mean the brain isn't still going to be attracted back to it. So I can't tell you how many times I've heard the story of somebody who was all upset about their parents' marriage being a mess and they weren't doing well in school and they didn't have any friends, and then all of a sudden somebody hands them a joint or hands them a drink. And now not only do they find some kind of physical relief or distraction, but now there's a group to belong to, the other people that are using this same distraction. And that group may not be the group that really serves your highest good, but they're friends. It's a place to belong. It's an identity. And we humans need to feel connection. We need to feel like our presence matters to somebody. And if we don't feel that at home, if home is a war zone or a place of chaos, we will seek something that does feed us, that does make us feel better. And those so often are the people that I'm seeing in my private practice because the attraction to the substance or the problematic behavior becomes so great that the rest of their lives start falling apart. And that can come in many, many flavors. There's substance addiction. There are behavioral addictions, like we mentioned earlier, gambling, pornography, different kinds of sex addiction, shopping, oh, that's a biggie, working. And work addiction is a tough one because it's so highly revered in our society. Oh, he works so hard and he's so successful. She just does so much. She works endlessly and is amazing. We get praised for that. So now there's two things coming out of it, the distraction and the praise. And we humans need all of that. So if you're somebody out there who is dealing with an addiction to something, and basically that might just mean you can't imagine yourself going a day without that behavior or that substance, then it might be an important time to seek help, to find out ways that you can cope with the emotional stuff going on with you in a productive way rather than a way that's doing harm to your body and your soul. And in just a little bit, Tim Ringgold will be sharing with us how he helps people walk that journey through music therapy. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Now, more than ever, it's important for women to understand why they need a financial strategy. Women tend to make less money than men, live longer, and face more financial challenges during retirement. Hi, I'm Sherry Blair. With evolving roles and increasing responsibilities, women are seeking out ways to become more knowledgeable about their finances. My life's work has been to empower women to make good financial decisions today to help ensure you have a bright future tomorrow. I'm here to help you learn more and to become more. Give me a call for your free no-obligation consultation or a second opinion at 619-997-0416. 619-997-0416. That's 619-997-0416.
Cherry Blair is registered with and securities are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. California license number 0B42369.
Hi, I'm Kelly Klein of One Trust Home Loans, Loan Coach Kelly. A while back, my business was in a slump, and it triggered a lot of self-doubt and fear, and it even had me questioning if I'd made the right career choice. So I booked a session with Paula Shaw. And after hearing my predicament, she explained that when we get into negative, self-sabotaging thinking and we are being run over by our limiting beliefs, it's almost impossible to create positive outcomes. She helped me clear those destructive thoughts and beliefs using her cutting-edge energy psychology techniques. Not only did I feel a whole lot better after the session, but within 2 weeks, I had 7 loans in my pipeline. I was so glad that I went to see Paula Shaw. And you should too. It really changed